If you can start with saying your name, the position you're running for, and a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I'm Chris Ronayne. I'm running for the position of Cuyahoga County Executive. A little bit about myself. I live in the city of Cleveland with my wife, Natalie, and our two kids, Audrey and Joe. Spent the last 16 years as president of University Circle Incorporated, overseeing the nonprofit education, medical arts, cultural district, but more importantly to me, a neighborhood and a growing neighborhood, and the neighborhoods nearby we partnered with. I also worked at City of Cleveland as chief of staff and development officer, was planning director, and prior to that worked for the county. When I was at Cleveland State, I was a graduate student in city planning. I had the great opportunity to meet with Mayor Carl Stokes, who came into our class as a guest lecturer one day. He was gracious enough to give me a half hour of his time and a cup of coffee in my early 20s, and I never forgot it. The last line he gave me was, "Change comes in inches in this town," and that line has both haunted me and motivated me all in the same. Change comes in inches. We need to move this town faster with the speed of trust to make the change that we really can live up to in Cuyahoga County a reality, and that's why I'm running. I think we can do better, we can partner better, and we can really, really live up to the potential of this place. Thanks.
Minority vendors have historically received less than 1% of all county contracts. As county executive, would you guarantee that at least 10% of county contracts go to minority and disadvantaged businesses and eliminate the good faith effort provision of contracts allowing folks to circumvent the need for a minority partner?
I think that seems like an entirely reasonable proposition that I will aspire to, and I want to first learn where have there been and why are there barriers to that. It is a county that is 1/3 persons of color, and we need to grow the diversity of our business relations to exactly that proportion or more. I want to do it at county, but I also want to challenge local area for-profit, nonprofit employers to do the same. If we can get into supply chains, for instance, areas like our hospitals that spend $4 billion a year on goods and services, we can move that needle up 1%, 5%, 10%. We'll make extraordinary things happen in communities of color, but businesses of color, and generally it'll build the diversity and breadth of this county to be the potential it really has. And I look to the city of Atlanta as a good example that's done good work in that regard, and we'll continue on.
Ohio currently ranks 3rd out of all 50 states in terms of human trafficking cases. What kind of, if elected, what kind of support would you give for women who have been human trafficked, and how would you go about accomplishing this?
Yeah, that's a tragic statistic for the state of Ohio. It's an embarrassment. I will work very much with the partnership of Cleveland Rape Crisis Center and others, but certainly Cleveland Rape Crisis Center at the lead. This is my style of leadership, that I want to invest in nonprofits that are doing the good civic work that their core competency rests with. And I know that Rape Crisis Center is one of the organizations that can lead in this effort. And what we need to do as a county is then find out what an organization I'm using as the example, because I think they're a leader in this work in this community. What do they need of the rest of us, both at county, at Center City of Cleveland, and our suburban communities and our nonprofits? What can we do to do our part to vastly improve that statistic and zero it out?
What will you do to increase home ownership in areas that have historically suffered from disinvestment and redlining?
Yeah, well, first I want to qualify by saying we shouldn't put renting as a stigma in this community. I believe that we do that all too often, and it translates to racism in zoning and an institutional bias against renters of all races and faces, and we end up with exclusionary communities. I want to say that at the outset. I live in a community where I've lived in 4 different homes, a triple, a double, a single, and a bigger single, and I live across from a 7-story apartment with HUD supported housing across the street. That's a complete community to me with an absolute spectrum of housing opportunities. As far as home ownership goes, I think we need to look at the barriers to entry in the market, and it's going to get more difficult with interest rates going up. So what we need to do is figure out with nonprofits that specialize in making sure people are getting into homes if they want to buy, and that begins a process of wealth building in community, that we work with them. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to build a housing division dedicated specifically to housing, on housing affordability, matters of homelessness, and housing opportunities and home purchasing. I'm going to have a housing division specifically dedicated to housing, not washed into a large community development or economic development organization, but a housing department.
Why are you the best candidate for this seat?
Experience. I think there are probably other good candidates in this race, but the experience of managing a $1 billion budget with the mayor and city council of the city of Cleveland give me that experience. I also managed in that regard over 5,000 employees. This is a county that brings in $1.5 billion in resources to be distributed at the trust of the voters throughout Cuyahoga County, and we manage a staff of over 5,000 people. Experience matters. I also am a team builder. I'm going to work with that staff to really promote excellence and to continue to develop a strategy with our staff, with our team, to grow the pie in Cuyahoga County for everybody. So we need everybody committed to these important matters of economic inclusion, of economic justice, of equity across the board and across all of our divisions and departments. With a great team, we'll do great things. And with a great partnership in the county, we'll do it. I have the experience to manage. I have vision. I have collaborative experience. And I've been a team builder all my life in professional work.
With Cleveland being one of the healthcare capitals of the world, what will you do to help reduce health disparities across the county?
That's right. It's a great thing we need to look at. We can't say that we're world class if those that are nearest our hospitals are in a situation where there's great disparity. Infant mortality being one of them. What will I do? What I did. What I did is I worked with the founder of Birthing Beautiful Community when she worked with Birthing Beautiful Communities when she worked with me at University Circle Inc., Kristen Farmer. I helped her birth her business, her nonprofit, by giving her runway to be an entrepreneur, sat down with her and said, okay, tell me about your dreams. And she birthed it. She literally brought BBC to a reality. She said, I want to build an army of doulas. I'm just using one example. And I want to turn back as a county executive and invest in an organization like that. Those disparities that we see need to be addressed with nonprofit intermediaries and a county that's investing in those nonprofits and their mission work to reduce disparity. I'm going to map it. We're going to target our investments where there's the greatest disparity. And in that, we're going to support organizations that are working. It doesn't always have to be the county doing the work. It can be the county investing in the organizations that do the work and putting wind into their sails.
Please tell us about a time you worked with someone you did not agree with in order to accomplish a task.
Yes, there were times at City Hall when I didn't agree with our mayor on certain things, although I think Mayor Jane Campbell was a great mayor. There were times when we had differences of opinion on land use issues, or we had differences of opinion about approaches to matters of finances and where to put them. I mean, but this is somebody who was her chief of staff, and I say that about a boss that I adored and worked for and enjoyed the experience of working with her. What we did is we talked with one another across the table about issues and about what our areas of concern were. Why I'm bringing that up is, as an executive, I need to be respectful to divergent points of view, as she was. I need to be respectful to divergent points of view of my staff who are telling me you have a blinder here, or to the community representatives who are saying you're not seeing the whole picture. I need to be listening to persons of diverse backgrounds that don't look like me, but that we can work together to solve problems that are best for all of us. And I will.
What is your opinion of police oversight by members of the community in which they serve?
One is, I think that the citizens review boards that are being built out need to be built out in every community. I think that we need to work on strategies to make sure that if there's implicit bias anywhere in our communities, we're rooting that out. Actually, I think we should assume there's implicit bias and go through training programs, as I did with my own department using Dr. Ronnie Dunn from Cleveland State. I actually think we should all say to ourselves, perhaps we are all of implicit bias and we should go through this kind of training. I also think that the reality is there should be body cams, both on our police officers and also in other areas of law enforcement, so that we have both a just environment for our citizens and also for those in the business of law enforcement, that everybody gets an objective, fair view. The last thing I want to say, we need to talk. We need to talk as a community. And I think that they're an honest broker, executive who can bring communities together on all sides. I think we'll find out after a while that we agree more on issues than disagree. Everybody wants safe communities, but they want just delivery of safety services.
That is all our questions. Any parting words for our people on the call?
I will say to you, we're ahead of schedule, so thank you. But I wanted to say, Andrew, I look forward to working with you and the organization, GPAC. I feel very much a kindred spirit on the questions you asked, that these are the issues of our day. But I will say, I think that we together will see the best days in Cuyahoga County ahead. We have the asset base, we have the opportunity to leverage, but we have to apply an all-in, inclusive, equitable approach where everybody gets cut into the deal. And I mean the deal of growth and vitality in Cuyahoga County, that's a shared experience across our communities. Where there is disparity, we need to address it with solutions and strengths, and we will. I look forward to potentially being your county exec. I ask for your consideration of endorsement and potentially support in a vote. Let's do this together. And this shouldn't be the last exchange. Let's keep this an ongoing exchange into our future. Thanks very much.
So thank you for your time this evening.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.